Mark, I've heard this before, but can you help us understand what does it mean to remove sugar and starches? Because it seems so hard. And I just ticked down what I could remember of what you said. I'm going to go back and listen to it later. Pies, cakes, crackers, cereals, single tier. I love my crackers. I can probably handle the rest, but I love my cracker. So what do you mean? Because removing sugar seems absolutely impossible. I never understand when someone's like, I gave up sugar. It's like, well, how?
Well, it's pretty daunting for sure. And the truth is, our brains are wired to seek out sweet things. So it's one of the reasons that we're attracted to fruit. For instance, fruit is sweet and by the way, very enjoyable and very healthy in the appropriate quantities. So I'm not advocating giving up fruit, for instance. But it's interesting. All of these things that we're going to talk about today exist on a spectrum of like really good to probably really terrible. Fats are a great example. There are really terrible fats you want to avoid at all costs. And then there are really good fats that you want to incorporate in your diet because they're healthful and they taste great and they're satiating. Well, with sweets, there's a similar sort of spectrum. So we want to get rid of, the processed sweeteners, the sugars, table sugar. Agave is a great example of something that was sold as a health food kind of thing. It's basically worse than high fructose corn syrup. We've all heard how bad high fructose corn syrup is. On the other hand, some amount of honey, because it's natural, is probably fine for some people. So this idea of giving up sweets really has to kind of look more closely at what exactly it is you're willing to give up and what is practical in the context of an eating strategy that you're putting together for yourself. So, getting rid of desserts would be a great first step for a lot of people. I always thought dessert was kind of a weird, it's like the meal you eat after you've just eaten a meal. Mm-hmm. And dessert has a pretty devastating effect in most cases on your insulin levels. So when you are trying to lose weight, one of the things you want to do is keep your insulin levels low because insulin is what locks fat into the fat cells. So that's one of the reasons that whenever you eat something that has carbs in it, whether it's starchy carbs, whether it's bread or crackers, for example, it'll tend to cause your insulin to go up. And insulin is there as a hormone that's intended to sequester nutrients into cells. So it'll open the cells up and try to put the glucose portion of that into muscle cells, for instance, as glycogen. But it'll also drive amino acids into other cells, which is protein. But it'll also drive fat into cells if insulin is high. So you want to try and over time lower the amount of insulin you produce. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the amount of sugar that you take in. So now, sort of good news, you can buy some quote, keto, end quote, crackers. So you can get that crunchy, salty, fatty, sweet taste without
writing that down.
So there are now analogs of some of these things that we're going to ask you to give up. And there have been paleo desserts and keto desserts for years. I think it's a sort of an abomination at some point because a lot of times they use some of these ingredients that we're talking about avoiding. But giving up sugar is the tough one for a lot of people. On the other hand, we're not really addicted to sugar. People say they're addicted to sugar. And, I think the definition of an addiction is something that if you don't get it, you'll go into, a biochemical reaction you'll sweat, you'll go into pain or whatever. That's a true addiction. So what we have in most cases is, first of all, unlimited access to sweet things. They're everywhere. And then what I call a lack of impulse control. They're everywhere, and oh my goodness, they're in the pantry or they're in the freezer. I've got frozen chocolate in the freezer, or I've got. One of the best things you can do for yourself is do what we call a pantry purge and just go through and take away that temptation, which isn't to say that you should go hungry or that you should suffer or feel like you're sacrificing enjoyment of your life in pursuit of this better eating. No, it's just to find things that will replace those that are more healthful for you.
Okay, so we have to talk about the replacements. I mean, I will say right now with young children, this sounds impossible. right? Like, what's on my shelf without even me telling you, because I have an 8, 11 and 12-year-old, and not to mention what's in my freezer. And I know we could say, well, get rid of the ice cream or get rid of the chocolate chips or get rid of the cookies. It's like, there'd be a full-on revolt in my house if I... Okay, so we'll get to that. But how does somebody start that? Because you say stop with the dessert. That's a good place to start. There are a lot of people who are like, I can't do that. Like, I need it. So to that person, what does that person do tonight when the habit is there to eat the dinner and then have the dessert? And now it's go time. You ate the dinner and all the instincts inside of you are kicking in like, now it's my time for my treat. What do they do?
Well, there are a number of strategies. One of them would be to recognize that it's human nature to see what we can get away with, right? So we see how much of this meal can I eat and not gain weight? How much food can I eat in a day and not gain weight before the wedding in 3 months? What's the biggest piece of dessert that I can eat and not feel like a glutton, or be uncomfortable? So we come at it from a what can I get away with perspective, rather than how much of this is going to satisfy the sweet tooth. And so the first thing I would say to some people is, you get served a giant piece of cheesecake and your brain is going, well, that's a serving. So it's not like I'm having 2 servings. I'm having a serving, even though it's a Cheesecake Factory 1,800 calorie piece of it. I would say, take the first bite and enjoy the hell out of it and love it and savor it. And then take the second bite and recognize that it's great, but it wasn't as good as the first. And usually with most desserts, by the time you get to the third or fourth bite, you go, you know what? I got it. I got the sense. I got the sweetness. From this point on, I'm just having a contest with myself to see whether I'm a glutton or not. So first thing would be to just cut back and just see if you can limit yourself to 2 bites or 3 bites of ice cream or something like that, or whatever it is that's your poison. It's so much easier, though, to just say, if I have room for dessert, then I have room for another lamb chop. So I'll skip the dessert and have another lamb chop or another chicken wing or another, whatever it is you had for dinner that's actually providing protein and some form of healthy fat and some, in the case of a chicken wing, some collagen, whatever. That's the way I would approach this. And that's when I said it's, the good news, bad news thing. The bad news is you have to do the work. That's part of the work. The good news is you can find things. I mean, the favorite dessert that my wife ever serves people when we have a dinner party is mixed berries with mascarpone, cheese, and whipped cream. So it is berries, which I say are tart fruits, which I'm allowing as a something to address your sweet tooth. And the mascarpone and this whipped cream together with a little bit of lemon zest, it's unbelievable. So people will say it's the best dessert they've ever had when they come to my house. And these are people who are used to pies and cakes, everything else. So there are some substitutes, some alternatives that will address the sweet tooth part of you without having you say, oh, I have to give up the rest of my life and I can't enjoy food ever again. No. And Kate will agree with me on this. I mean, Kate and I eat like kings and queens. I enjoy every bite of food I put in my mouth. So it's not like I'm ever feeling like I'm sacrificing. I just choose foods that are A, good for me, and B, I know I'm going to love and love the taste of.
Ladies and gentlemen, Genucel has extended your chance to get their most popular package for 60% off at Genucel.com. And during this limited time opportunity, get their brand new Ultra Retinol Cream for maximum anti-aging benefits with your purchase. Genucel's one-of-a-kind formula can deliver all the anti-aging benefits of retinol without any of the harsh side effects. Say hello to looking your best and goodbye to fine lines, wrinkles, crow's feet, under-eye bags, and even red, blotchy skin. Results you will love, guaranteed, or your money back. That's the Genucel promise. Join Genucel's best-in-class rewards program at checkout, and you will get an extra 10% off your order. You will also receive a complimentary sample gift set. Go to Genucel.com/MK60 now for up to 60% off world-class skincare. And as if all that were not enough, right now, their most popular package includes an extra Genucel product free. Go to Genucel.com/MK60. That's GENUCEL.com/MK60. Check it out. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.